All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I'm Is There No One Else, and I'm on the PTS, and I kind of wanted to show you guys the new proc set scaling that exists as of week 1 of the PTS. I wanted to go through it, kind of talk about my point of view, provide my opinion, and why I kind of think this needs to be adjusted before it goes live. So, yeah, with that being said, let's dive into it. I am on a Stamina Necromancer. As you guys know, I play Stamina Necromancer. I have a build on my channel from Markarth where I was running Crimson or Daedric Trickery, Clever Alchemist, Markarth, and then One Piece Monster set with Vateshran. Now, because I'm on the PTS, I didn't want to run and craft Crimson, or craft Clever Alchemist. I'm sorry, you can't craft Crimson. So I got Vateshrans on the front bar. I have Crimson on the back bar, One Piece Balorg, with Essence Thief instead. Essence Thief is a damage set just like Clever Alchemist. It's not going to boost my Vateshran's 2H, but whatever. Like this is what I would run if I didn't have Clever. But yeah, this is just going to give us an idea of what we're running. One Piece Markarth, 2 weapon damage, 1 infused recovery. This is very, very similar to what I was running in Markarth. I was stacking a little bit more health because honestly, you needed to with the amount of proc damage. You needed something to survive. And yeah, let's look at my stats real quick. Normally I was running like 30. You guys can go back and look at my stats, but I was running like 35k health. I made some adjustments. I'm at 38, 39k health. My recovery is about where it would normally be. You see 1840 with a pot. I would jump over 2k, which is normally in the range of where I'm at. Dubious instead of Lava Foot. So yeah, I just adjusted my food so I could have a little bit more health, a little bit less recovery. I switched an enchant. Yeah. And so that's what I did. I wanted to make sure I was over the 38.5k threshold so I could show what the Crimson proc is. So yeah, this is my stats. It's a pretty similar build to what I was running in Markarth. If we go in and we look at the Crimson tooltip, you will see that I'm at 10,432 bleed damage, which is where I was in Markarth. It was around 10k plus boosted by Markarth, so it was like 12.5. This is the same thing, 10.4, a little bit higher than what I was before with 16%, so it's about 11, 12k. Slight nerf due to the Markarth nerf, but it's around the same. I think we can all agree, out of all the proc sets that existed in Markarth, Crimson was probably the strongest. It was run on the most builds. It's not really the damage, it was the amount of healing that it provided. Now I can provide a link to me running a couple, doing some PvP, running Crimson, for those of you guys that have never seen the set being run. But yeah, 2, 3, 4 people on me, I was getting 10k plus heals. 10k plus Crimson heals, literally saving my life. If I had more than that, it was 15, 20k heals. Like, I saw a few 18 to 20k heals with Crimson, and it happens every 8 seconds. It's okay damage, but it's the healing. It's the healing that is so powerful. And so this set was really problematic because you would see a lot of werewolves running it. They were running really high health. They could basically stay alive for 8 seconds, and if you kind of stayed in range on top of them, like Crimson would proc, and yeah, there's a little bit of counterplay, but every 8 seconds made it really tough to burst somebody down because either you spent time blocking the Crimson proc or they were healing. And so yeah, I think we'd all agree that Crimson probably needed an adjustment soon, and it didn't get one. They're just having it scale with health. So if you have 38.5k health, which is an easy requirement to get, you still have the same Crimson buff that you had before, which was extremely powerful. Yeah, but on top of that, if you run an ultimate like Ravenous Goliath that gives you 30,000 health, it scales your proc even higher. Now, it's not just the health-based procs, it's the weapon damage procs, it's the resistance procs. All of these work with different criteria. I wanted to show one of the more problematic ones. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're fully buffed up, and then we're going to go into our Goliath. And as a Goliath, you see that I am doing 21,668 bleed damage. So this is a build that I was more or less running last patch. Now I added 3k more health. Keep in mind I'm not running Clever Alchemist, which has 2 lines of health, so I would actually have a little bit more here, so I'd be in the 22k range. This is what happens. This ultimate lasts for 20 seconds. If you guys have never seen this ultimate before, it lasts for 20 seconds, meaning I get at least 2 procs, maybe 3 procs. So I have 3 different procs, potential chances to proc Crimson, that does 22k damage, which is more, it's as much or more than Spectral Bow. It's more than Sub-Assault. It's more than Blast Bones. And so when I go into my ultimate, I am going to have an 8-second period to where I can do Blast Bones, AoE Blast, more than AoE Blast Bones level damage on a Crimson proc. Now, keep in mind, I already have other damage also. I have a 16k tooltip on my Blast Bones. I have a 12k tooltip on my D-Swing, a 15k on my Dawnbreaker. I already have damage, and this is before Markarth. So I already had damage on this build. It's not a crazy amount of damage, but for 40k plus health, it's quite a bit. That's a pretty good amount. I definitely can kill people with it. And then you give me a 22k Crimson on top of it that's going to keep me healed to full in severely outnumbered 1vx situations. It's a lot. So if we're looking at this, we have a 22k Crimson proc with a 16k Blast Bones, so that's 38k, with a 12k D-Swing, that's 50k, with a 15k Dawnbreaker, that's 65k, and on top of that, we have this, which jumps up, I want to say it jumped up to like 10k. So I don't have the 50, yeah, so 10k. So we have 70k tooltip damage that can all line up in a burst and take out an opponent with 16k pen on top of it. Keep in mind, like, it says I have 72, 76 physical penetration. That's with the 9k pierce armor that I'm running. So it's 72, 76, and then the 9k pierce armor on top of it. So I have like 16,000 pen on this build. Now, this isn't the best way to run around doing this. Like, as I said before, I'm not even stacking really heavily into these sorts of things. I only have 29 points in health. We all know we've seen 50 to 60k necromancers running around. We've seen 50 to 60k health werewolves. We've seen people stacking a lot more health and going into clown form, 120k plus. And so these sorts of things can be a real issue because of that. And so, in my opinion, I think that this needs to be adjusted. I think that the cap on the overall amount of damage these procs can do needs to be adjusted, and there needs to be one put in there, and the scaling also needs to be higher. So instead of having it be 38k, have it be 45 or 50k. Because the thing is we can debate procs, okay? And I don't want to. We talked about it a lot. We can debate them if you really want to. But the big thing is the community reached out to ZeniMax during the test, and they said, hey, we had a lot more fun during no procs. And ZeniMax said whether they agreed that procs were OP or not, they said, okay, well, you're having more fun with no procs. We're just going to have no procs exist, and we're going to adjust procs in the meantime for 6 months, which they then adjusted to 3. So either they recognized an issue or they recognized that people were having more fun without them. This is Markarth procs on steroids. Like this is way more problematic than they were in Markarth. I can get a 22k plus tooltip on this, building into it pretty easily, considering the build that I was running in past patches. You guys can feel free to go back and look at it. This isn't much different than what I was running. I've seen people post explosive rebuke tooltips of 80k plus damage. I've seen people post 20k tooltip Vatishran 2H procs, because especially for stamina, it's really easy to stack weapon damage. Like, it's really easy to stack weapon damage. So a lot of these procs, the threshold is too low. And so then all of a sudden, because it's easy to meet those requirements and surpass them, we're getting harder hitting proc damage. A lot harder hitting. This is when I go into clown form, I'm doing 50% more damage than I was doing in Markarth, and I think we can all agree that Markarth Crimson, sorry, not 50% more, 100% more. I'm doing 100% more damage when I go into clown form than I was in Markarth, which is problematic. Like, if it was an issue then and you buff it by 100% for 20 seconds, that's way more of an issue. So yeah, these are my thoughts. Obviously it's week 1 of the PTS. Every week 1 always has stuff like this. It is what it is, but yeah, here's me showing you what it does and showing you what happens with the scaling of proc sets currently during week 1. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.